Today's voiceover talent is more than just a pretty voice. Today's voiceover talent has to be a boss, a VO boss. Set yourself up with business owner strategies and success with your host, Ganguzza, along with some of the strongest voices in our industry. Rock your business like a boss, a VO boss.
Welcome, everybody, to the B.O.S. podcast. I'm your host, Ganguzza, along with my lovely co-host, Gabby Nistico. Hey, Gabby.
Hello.
Hey, Gabby, I have had some emails and digital encounters this past week that have really led me to thinking that we should do an episode on digital etiquette.
Yeah, I'm all about that. I think it's a major pet peeve for us, for a lot of people in business now.
Yeah.
So many folks just don't really
Get it?
I don't know. Yeah, I think kind of just missing the boat here.
Yeah, and every time that happens, and I know that a lot of times there are well-meaning people that just will do things online or through an email, or just through a communication where I just cringe. And the one that I had in particular was somebody that tagged me on a post in Facebook. And not only did they tag me, but they tagged about 75 other people.
Ugh.
Oh, that is like one of my first pet peeves, because I'm sure if you've been tagged before, you know that you get all of those notifications. And I wonder to myself, how is it that they don't know?
I feel like people get a little overzealous in social media content, and I admire the fact that they want to share, or that they're excited, or whatever, but it does get a little bit cumbersome for recipients. And I think that things like tagging people or tagging like obnoxious numbers of people in conversations becomes very taxing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We also see a lot where people get, I don't know, this happens to me all the time. I get added to groups and I'm like, don't add me to your group. What are you doing? What is this?
Yeah.
And it's never seems to fail that it's either like multi-level marketing stuff or it's, some voiceover topic or offshoot. And I'm like, come on, guys, ask. Just shoot me a quick message directly and ask me if I want to join the group. So things like that are kind of, sort of like, etiquette no-nos. They're just in poor form.
Well, I think the first thing to know is just everything should be permission-based. I mean, don't expect that. What happened there, Gabby?
Hold on. Sorry. Oh, God damn it.
What just happened? Did your microphone just fall?
I was trying to adjust it, and yes. The clunk was me over-adjusting the mic and then it dropping below me. Clunk. So you were saying?
I wasn't quite sure, Gabby, what was going on there. So I was saying, I think that what people just need to be mindful of is permission. It's just one of those things that, it's a common courtesy. If you're going to tag someone, or you're, if you're going to tag someone and they're not necessarily aware of it, you might want to ask permission first. And that's just a general courtesy. Otherwise, they're going to continue to get those notifications over and over and over again. And a lot of times people are not, savvy, nor do they have the time to have to actually take themselves off of the list or out of the tag or remove the tag. A lot of times we don't do that on a continual basis. So it's like, wait, how do I remove myself again? How does that work? And that also happens not even in just Facebook posts, but also Messenger posts. I get those emails that are like, hey, forward to your girlfriend, forward to 50 of your closest girlfriends. And it's like one of those chain letters. Oh, gosh, remember those chain mails?
Emails.
That we used?
Yeah, it used to be email, and now it's literally
Messenger.
Messenger has exploded with them. And then, and even sometimes it's really sometimes it's events, right? So a lot of times I find in voiceover, it's like an event or a thing that's going on. And so, yes, they've tagged a bunch of people, but there's a point in time where you go, oh my gosh, I don't need to see every single person's, excuse for not being able to go, or when they're going, or that they're excited to go. It gets so overwhelming. And then too, we see it in text, group text. It's the same thing. So these are really, Honestly, I think what it comes down to with the group method in anything with digital communications, the reason it's in such poor form is it's not business minded. Business people don't do that.
Excellent point.
So
Yes.
that's really the thing that we want to instill in everybody and have everyone kind of think about. Even if it's a holiday message, right? Yes, I know
Especially
it's a
if
pain.
it's a holiday message.
Yeah, I know it's annoying.
Yeah.
Take the time. Make
Well,
it singular. Make it personal.
And I think you drove home a really simple point. Take the time. And the thing is if you're going to tag 75 people on an image that you might have made or a message that says Happy Holidays, I feel as though I was just part of a lump group of people, and that is something as as businesses and as marketers, you want to make sure that your clients feel special, and that includes anybody in your circles, anybody in your network. So take the time to actually maybe create a special post or a special text message or a special instant messenger, whatever it is, to that person. And I think that's going to go a whole lot further than just tagging a blanket 100 people.
I think so. And I think too, maybe switching it over to the private email process, it makes it a little less, I don't know, attempting to just use the big tagging features, even though yes, you can do things like a blind CC in email, but let's talk about that factor too. I'm still amazed by the sheer volumes of people that don't know how to properly use a BCC.
Yeah.
And that carbon copy and send massive emails out to droves of people. Always kind of disturbing. But I think even more disturbing than that in email communications, that we were just talking about this a little while ago, the lack of signatures.
Oh,
Really
that is
baffling.
A very big pet peeve of
Yeah.
mine. Yeah.
I think people don't quite understand that inside of your signature in an email, and if you're not familiar with what this is, by the way, it's an automatic process. You can set it up in every email program. They all have these options. You set it and forget it. You only have to do it one time, and every time you generate a new email or forward an email, your signature will automatically appear. And you and I both of us have pretty extensive signatures. We have logos and graphics and links, and you can put all kinds of cool stuff in a signature. So you really should be using it to its fullest capacity.
Yeah.
But not having one is...
Oh, please.
Oh.
Take the time. Take the time
God.
to just create one. And like you said, set it and forget it. It's one of those things. I actually have multiple, because I have multiple domains, but I have multiple signatures. But I love it so much because no matter what email goes out, it's got all of my information on it. And how many times have you gotten something where I really, I need to call you on that, or I need to send you an email, and I go back, even my clients, I'll go back and I'll be like, how is it possible that you exist in today's world without a signature file? I need to be able to, and I'm actually, if I get sent, an interest email, and somebody is like, look, I'm interested in getting a quote from you for a voiceover job, whatever it is, and they don't have a signature, I immediately just step back and go, you know what? That is part of my vetting process, that if somebody's going to ask me for a quote and they themselves don't have a signature or a domain that I can go and check out to find out, are they valid? Are they real? Or is there a phone number that I can call? I really shy away. And those are the people that I think are also the people that you'll fight with, over rates and quotes and that type of thing.
And getting paid.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree with you. I think it's a humongous red flag when I get a client inquiry and there's no contact information or no signature. I'm always like, uh-oh. But imagine being on the other person's shoes. If you're a voice actor and you are promoting or sending out a marketing piece or trying to drum up new business, if they're not seeing these basic pieces of communication from you, it is really very much a red flag that, either you're not a professional, you don't really know what you're doing, or maybe your business isn't as legitimate as you claim it to be. So, very, very important. And the other thing is, yes, it is an ease of use thing. Anne and I both can tell you, we will immediately first, if we need to contact someone, communicate with them, go into our email, search through, whether it be a trash folder or particular
That's the
folders
first
where
thing
we
I
have
do.
things set up. Yeah, and go and try to find someone's signature to contact them because it's
And
the easiest.
Gabby, it makes me chuckle because I am one of those people that I've had Gmail since it began. I think it's 1996, maybe it
Okay.
began, and I got one of those original fledgling accounts from Google that I have had since then, and I actually have never deleted any emails. So if people look at
God.
my inbox, I have probably 600,000 unread emails.
Oh my
Because I've
gosh.
never ever deleted one because I thought, well, it's Google, it's a search engine. So when I go back and search for somebody for for a an address or a phone number or an email, it's amazingly fast and it works well.
Everything's
And
there.
if I can't find your information, I'm immediately going to be suspicious. Number one, that you're a valid entity or professional entity at all.
I think it's really funny too because I know I do this and I know other business people that do it too now. Signatures are so critical and so important. We judge people. Judge people like I've looked at other people's signatures and gone, "Ooh, that's not very good. That could be better."
Yes,
or
I agree.
or it's the other way around. Like I'll look at someone's signature and I'll go, "Ooh, that's nice." Like they've got it together and be very impressed. So it's kind of important. Like I don't think people give enough
It's part of
thought
your brand.
process. Yeah.
Yeah, your signature is part of your brand. And on the opposite end of that spectrum, Gabby, too, is signatures that are too long. I don't know if you've had that.
I have. I've had signatures that get kind of like people get kind of wonky and there's like 8 billion, possible link. And the thing too about so this is just, again, I think part of the etiquette process. So hyperlinking inside of email, which everybody hopefully is familiar with, is a big part of creating a signature. But what I see a lot of people do is when they're hyperlinking, they're literally putting in like HTTP/PS /this WW. It's like, no, you don't need to do any of that. You can literally type things like, "Hear my demo," and hyperlink that phrase directly to your website, your demo link, whatever. There's all kinds of cool things you can do there that cut down on some of the
visual
I don't know,
clutter.
Yeah, the clutter, exactly.
Yeah. And actually, nowadays most services, whether it's on your phone or desktop or whatever, they automatically understand the hyperlink.
Yes.
It's not like you need to spell it. In the beginning you used to have to spell it out so people
not anymore.
the link may not be active, but pretty much anywhere you're going to be looking at that email, that link is probably going to be active, unless you're looking at maybe a PDF document where they haven't actually linked graphics with hyperlinks. But I think anywhere you're going to run into, I know that Gmail automatically does it. You just have to, put in the hyperlink and it creates it, or, it's very easy to create a hyperlink these days. And your signature file, I especially think it's important to link your contact information. And I think it's great if you can link your demos too, because you never know, even if you're sending an email to your mother, you never know. She could forward that email to somebody else who might have a friend who might need a voiceover. And I think just having that standard signature is something that every voice talent should just stop what you're doing today and get it done now. Set it and forget it. And there are multiple ways to do this in Google and in Apple Mail, whatever it is. Find out how to do it, and just do it.
Yeah, I mean, you can do YouTube tutorials and look up the specific process for creating signatures in whatever email you're using.
Yeah.
It makes it really, really easy to do. Or just ask a friend who's using the same platform because, it's too important to miss. So what else, Anne? What other kinds of digital etiquette issues are we seeing?
I think you have to be really careful when you're talking about sending marketing mails out to mass quantities of people in terms of not being personal enough. Again, in this day and age, you really need to make the focus about the client. And if your mail or your post looks like mass produced, then you have to understand that the recipient of that may just feel like, well, okay, you don't care enough to, reach out to me in a more individual way. So I think it's a tough call, especially as marketers, when we're sending mail out to, a list of people. How are you going to make that mail stand out, and how are you going to make it as personalized as possible. And I think that instead of trying to sell what you do, go with that email with the idea, even if you're going to send it to 300 people or 400 people, that you are there to serve the client. I think that is the etiquette that you really want to start focusing your mind on. What can you do for them and not what they can do for you?
Yeah, I agree with that. The other thing, and I think I see a lot of this too in social, is inadvertent hijacking of people's posts.
Oh, gosh,
It's
yes.
again, it's an etiquette thing.
That's
so
a good one.
I think it comes down to let's see. Trying to give a good example here. So let's say a voiceover friend of yours goes on to Facebook and creates a post where they include a link to a recent job that they've done. Okay, and they're excited and they're going, "Hey, everybody, check out this thing that I just did!" Right? Yay! And you reply, and maybe in your reply you go, "Oh, hey, that's really cool. Look, here's one I just did too."
And then you, change the focus.
Right. So it's called hijacking.
Mm-hmm.
And the deal with that is, again, I don't think people do it intentionally. I think often when people do it, it's not malicious. It's not that they're trying to be rude. It's that they're trying to engage the conversation, and they may not realize that what they've done has, changed the focus, or then taken that person's post or thread and allowed it to spin off in a completely different direction.
Oh, yeah.
This is where we say be cautious about, politics and religion and because that's what happens. Like, somebody posts something really benign about their business, someone makes a political comment, and the next thing you know, the whole thread has spun out of control.
Oh, yeah. And, we've spoken about this before, Gabby, about there's so many people that read those threads that make no comment whatsoever. And yet you are being judged. Your brand is being judged. Your business is being judged based on that. And if you're going to be one of those people that tends to hijack, and it's more of a me thing, that is so evident. And I think one thing that I want to point out is that it's so much more evident in, like, typewritten, like in the ethers kind of way, where we're not seeing anybody's facial expressions. We are only seeing the text that's on the page, and a lot of times that meaning can be misconstrued. And especially if it only takes one post of you being inconsiderate, selfish, or seeming that way, whether you meant it or not, for hundreds of people, or who knows how many people, to judge you on that and make an assumption about who you are and what your business is about. And that can tarnish a brand. That whole saying about it takes 10 years to build a brand and maybe only 5 minutes to destroy it. That is something that you just have to be very conscious about in this digital era.
Yeah. And if you feel like, something that you posted did become hijacked or went off the rails into a completely different direction, and that direction no longer reflects you well, don't be afraid to just delete the whole thread.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to just get rid of it. At least disassociate it, from yourself, because it does. If it can negatively reflect, why do that? So,
Absolutely.
So just little things to keep in mind, guys. We're going to talk more about this kind of stuff in future episodes, because these are the day-to-day little business interactions we don't always remember to keep in check and kind of keep up with the trends. So that's what B.O.S. is here for.
Absolutely.
One of the many things we're here for.
Just keep in mind that whole business social is a reflection of your brand. And sometimes when you take it to be personal or a little too personal, things can go awry. Yep. I'd like to give a big shout out and thank you to our sponsor, IPDTL, for our quality connection and recording. You too can be a IPDTL recording boss and find out more at ipdtl.com.
Make sure to connect with us on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and YouTube, Stitcher and iTunes, of course, for subscribing to the podcast. And you can check out all of the exclusive content we have available at VOBoss.com.
Cool stuff.
And tell us more stuff about what's there.
I want to just make a quick point about VOBoss.com. We've changed our format of our posts, and we've got some really cool exclusive content that is right on the webpage for each episode. We've got takeaways. We've got ways that you can tweet quotes from the episodes and everything. So make sure to check that out as well. And we will see you guys next week.
Bye.
Thanks so much. Bye.
Join us next week for another edition of B.O.S. with your hosts, Ann Ganguzza and Gabby Nisterko. All rights reserved. Ann Ganguzza voice talent in association with 3 Moon Media. Redistribution with permission. Coast-to-coast connectivity via IPDTL.